formidable robot.
I'm sure that we've all been victims to the Mandela effect when we were kids. Some examples being people thinking the Monopoly man has a monocle, or the infamous Bernstein Bears incident where people thought it was spelled with an E, just to name a few. Of course, I always knew that Bernstein was spelled that way since I had a lot of books as a kid, but I wasn't invulnerable to every Mandela effect. One such example was when I saw an episode of SpongeBob, which was the first one I watched. I've been watching SpongeBob since I was 2. I know, a 2-year-old watching SpongeBob is weird, but I'm the same person who watched Silence of the Lambs when I was a baby, though that's beside the point. I remembered the first 2 episodes I watched of SpongeBob were Grandma's Kisses and No Weenies Allowed. I didn't remember my first time watching Grandma's Kisses due to being a toddler at the time, but I do remember my first time watching No Weenies Allowed vividly. Or rather just a few details about my first viewing. I've included some edited screen caps of the episode to replicate what I saw from memory. The episode started like usual, except from what I saw, SpongeBob didn't have holes in his body. I think it was because my 2-year-old mind didn't notice SpongeBob had holes in his body since he's a sponge. However, I did notice that whenever SpongeBob got hurt in the episode, such as the bit where he got into a sparring match with Sandy at the beginning, when he got in the middle of a fight, or when he broke his fingers, he would gain a new hole in his body according to my toddler eyes. It even happened during minor inconveniences, like that one scene where SpongeBob struggled to open a bottle of ketchup. He even got a new hole when he was at Weenie Hut Jr. sipping his drink. It was honestly strange to see. But nothing compares to what I witnessed in the end. Instead of SpongeBob being able to go into the salty spittoon after Patrick beat himself up, SpongeBob would be fighting with another character that wasn't Patrick. SpongeBob would be too busy fighting the random fish that he didn't notice the cliff he was walking backwards towards. He falls backwards as he landed on the ground. The last shot I remembered was a focus on his unconscious body. There wasn't any blood, since I did see this when I was a toddler, but his body was covered with holes. So many holes that he looked like an actual kitchen sponge. I can't remember what my reaction was, if I had any, but this was not the first Mandela effect I had watching No Weenies Allowed. Another example was at the beginning of the episode, where SpongeBob was talking about using the elements of surprise on Sandy, but I misheard it as the elephants of surprise, since my toddler self didn't know what those words meant. Now I have a theory on why I imagined the episode the way I did. It's possibly due to the fact that when you're a toddler, you tend to see things from a different perspective since everything you see is new. Plus, when you first see a character, animated or otherwise, you tend to not pay attention to certain details they might have. For example, when I first got into drawing Sonic, I didn't draw his back spikes because I didn't know he had them, until my friend pointed it out. Then I started drawing Sonic no problem. You know, this whole incident during childhood was actually the thing that inspired me to become an artist, and I have my weird story to thank for that. I'm fully aware that people are going to make jokes about this, and before you ask, no. I didn't have a fear of holes when I was a child. In fact, that incident actually made me interested in holes. My rich uncle, who buys a new car every year, would always buy a car with perforated automotive seats, due to the fact that it had tiny holes in it. Just like how SpongeBob did when I first watched him.